Ladies and gentlemen, Van Wagner. Bring him on home.
Well, some men love the ocean and they spend a life at sea. I need a forest, a life in the trees. Home is where the heart is, find your heart a good home. My heart is in the woodland, lost and alone. Deep in the woods where the highway can't be heard, I hear the sound of quiet and the absence of words. Born where I belong here still. God made me a ridge runner in these rolling hills. When I was a young lad, my parents told me then, they said, go out in the woods, find yourself, young man. First it was to hunt and fish, and then deeper lessons came. Here I sit all grown up, searching just the same. Deep in the woods where the highway can't be heard, I hear the sound of quiet and the absence of words. Born where I belong here still. God made me a ridge runner in these rolling hills. Well, the mountains are a mystery the longer that you stay. They will roll their way in your soul deeper each day. And even if you leave, they'll remain in your heart, in the way the world sees you and how you see the world. Deep in the woods where the highway can't be heard, I hear the sound of quiet and the absence of words. Born where I belong here still. God made me a ridge runner in these rolling hills. Thank you. It is so great to be back at Hickory Fest. At this time, I'm going to bring up a very special guest, Ethan Weeder on guitar, so I can jump on the banjo. There's a wonderful group of friends, and they call themselves the North and South of 80 Fan Club, and they're on Interstate 80. Any members here that can represent? Yeah. So people often ask, am I on Facebook? Not exactly, but they are, and they're a pretty cool community. And they just had a great party this morning, and they asked about this song, and so they inspired me to put this on the set list today. It's called Chicken's Lament. It's hard to be a chicken, especially on my farm. The chickens that live here ain't living very long. Boys living very long. They ain't living very long. Boys living very long. Some in the evening and some the morning fog. Some from the weasel and one my brother's dog. Boy, one my brother's dog. One my brother's dog. Boys, one my brother's dog. Scratching in the gravel, picking in the mash. Turn over a rotten log and treat 'em to the stash. Boys, treat 'em to the stash. Treat 'em to the stash. Boys, treat 'em to the stash. Oh, get 'em in the morning, dodging chicken legs. Boys, you haven't lived until you've tried my scrambled eggs. Boys, tried my scrambled eggs. Tried my scrambled eggs. Boys, tried my scrambled eggs. Here we go. We must have lost a dozen from the old and the fox. Never saw it coming, that old red-tail hawk, boys, old red-tail hawk. That old red-tail hawk, boys, old red-tail hawk. Now if you have a beverage in your hand, get ready. Take pity on these chickens and raise your glasses high. A toast to my feathered friends before they up and die, boys, before they up and die. Before they up and die, boys, before they up and die. It's hard to be a chicken, especially on my farm. The chickens that live here ain't living very long, boys, living very long. They ain't living very long, boys, living very long. They ain't living very long, boys, living very long. That's a good man song. You may drink now. Thanks for toasting. Ethan and I actually just finished recording an album together. I'm sorry we don't have it here this weekend, but it is coming out any day. And Ethan is actually an excellent drummer. He does most of the percussion on the new album, which is pretty cool. Pushed me into a new direction for the last year. If you could bring my vocals down in the monitors a little bit, I didn't realize how powerful I was. Check, check, check. We're going to do one of my favorite old-timey songs. I first heard this from the recordings of Doc Watson. Any Doc Watson fans out there? It goes way back before him. This was actually a pretty popular song on both sides of the Civil War. This is what the troops were listening to sitting around their campfires at night. She's a pretty bird, and she warbles as she flies, but she never says cuckoo till the 4th day of July. I'm gonna build me a log cabin on a mountain so high, so I can see Bottle as she goes rolling by. Oh, the cuckoo, she's a pretty bird, and she warbles as she flies, but she never says cuckoo till the 4th day of July. Jack of diamonds, I have known you of old. You have robbed my poor pockets of my silver and my gold. Oh, the cuckoo, she's a pretty bird, and she warbles as she flies, but she never says cuckoo till the 4th day of July. I have played cards in England, and I've gambled in Spain. Well, I bet you $10 that I beat you next game. Oh, the cuckoo, she's a pretty bird, and she warbles as she flies, but she never says cuckoo till the 4th day of July. Ethan Weeder, ladies and gentlemen. So cool. I don't get to play those songs unless I have someone like Ethan to play guitar, so it's nice to play banjo again. Boy, oh boy, you had a lot of requests as I came around the campground this morning. You were supposed to be helping me make a set list, but instead it scattered my thoughts even more. So I'm going to do my best to honor all the requests I had, but I apologize if there's some that get missed. It just means I owe you a campfire song later. That's the fun of Hickory Fest. We all just hang out together as one big family. Well, this was a request by a young man, I believe from Bradford County. This is called the Recluse. It's hard to be present, hard to be sane. You put yourself out there again and again. Energy's low, anxiety high. Too many people, too many times. I can bring myself back from the edge. Refuel my spirit and clear out my head. It is all that saves me in the chaos of life. I get it together and I get it all right. I recluse. Back to the woods, back to the roots. I follow the lead of the brown recluse. The working stiff, the working poor. Take it all day and then come back for more. No word of thank you, no word of please. Get what you can, take it and leave. Well, I know there's more to it, I know there is good. See it in people, I know that I should. But I find it exhausting, living most days. I am lonely in crowds and nervous on stage. I recluse. Back to the woods, back to the roots. I follow the lead of the brown recluse. Christ went to the mountains to pray and to think. This is the reason that I follow him. But then he served people, both strangers and friends. This is the part that I struggle with. People need people, people just need. I need the mountains alone with the trees. I'll come back better, a stronger man. And then when I need it, I'll recluse again. I recluse. Back to the woods, back to the roots. I'll follow the lead of the brown recluse. Thank you. We got a lot of friends and family here from Schuylkill County. Let me hear it, Schuylkill County. I know you're out there. This one's for you all. My wife and I lived in Schuylkill County for a while. I worked as a coal miner, and it was a great, great year or two of our life. And at the time, I'm embarrassed to admit to you all, I used to chew tobacco. I chewed a brand called Coal Miner's Choice from Stoker. And so if you're wondering why this song is called Tobacco from Tennessee, it's actually a love song about my wife who said, I'm done kissing you until you quit that stuff. And folks, I'm cured. I no longer chew tobacco. I don't know why that I love her so, maybe her smile or her skin. I know that there is something that's driving me wild, though I can't put my finger on it. And I know I usually don't ask you for much, but this ain't no time for pride. come on and let me in. Put my Jones into an end. I need some of what you got inside. She got lager from Pottsville. She got single malt Scotch whiskey. She got roots on the Schuylkill and tobacco from Tennessee. Some don't believe in love at first sight. They say it's for fairy tales and such. And I know that it's for real. There's no faking how I feel. With you, well, I just can't get enough. My folks raised me to be cultured and such, to appreciate the finer things of life. But I waste no time with cappuccino or fine wine. No, I prefer the culture of my wife. Here it comes. She got lager from Pottsville. She got single malt Scotch whiskey. She got roots on the Schuylkill and tobacco from Tennessee. And tobacco from Tennessee. That was a song about your mom, boys. Guard your wallet carefully if you come to support me with any CD or skateboard purchases, because we have 3 sharks over there watching every dollar transaction. This is called Churches and Bars. It's from my dear friends Mike and Chelsea. Mike, turn around if you would and show the audience your shirt. They'll understand why I'm singing this. If you can't see in the back, his shirt says Shamokin. Churches and bars. Ah, folks round here don't need many things, just a shirt on their back and a song to sing. Reverend Billy likes his wine. He turns a feast today into a good old time. 12 different languages, all singing his praises. Some kneel at church doors, some lay on barroom floors. For their churches and bars, churches and bars. All I need are my churches and bars. You won't find me in a dry old town, not a drop of religion to be found. Well, it used to be that coal was king. Round here it would buy anything. That was yesterday, my friends. Set 'em up and let's go again. We got communion 7 days a week. Yingling to drink, Mrs. T's to eat. Old-time religion and lager beer. That's what keeps us living around here. It's our churches and bars, churches and bars. All I need are my churches and bars. You won't find me in a dry old town, not a drop of religion to be found. Now the good Lord watches over me, especially when I'm too blind to see. Lays my head down oh so slow when my tummy does the do-si-do. Oh, grab your partner, spin her around to this Pennsylvania sound. Sing with me one more time before I go back in this mind. For our churches and bars, churches and bars. All I need are my churches and bars. You won't find me in a dry old town, not a drop of religion to be found. Are churches and bars, churches and bars. All I need are my churches and bars. Won't find me in a dry old town, not a drop of religion to be found. Boy, you make this fun for me. Thank you. I mean it. This Saturday once a year is one of the highlights of my life. I hope you have a good time, but I'm being selfish right now. This is all about me having a blast. This 1 hour of this one weekend once a year. I hear some good requests out there. Let me get this one out. This is one that is a real heartfelt one for me. This is a song I wrote almost 25 years ago. I want you to listen to the lyrics. I think we can still learn a lot from our history. This is a true story called the Latimer Massacre, and it was about some Polish and Italian and Lithuanians and Slovaks who were on strike in the Hazelton area. And they took a peaceful march carrying the American flag, and when they got to Hazelton, They were told, get around Hazelton. So they did, they listened. And they went around Hazelton, and when they got to Latimer, well, I'll let the song tell you how the story ends. I've been accused of singing depressing songs at times. People say, Van, why do you write these sad coal mining songs? Because it makes me darn happy to be living in the year 2019. When we can all get together in a field like this, and we're not worried about what your ethnicity or religion is. We're all one family this weekend. And that's how we learn about our history. This is the Latimer Massacre. "1897, a cold September morning. And there's something in the air today that's chilling me to the bone. Looking out my shack window up by old number 9, I can see some men are gathering as the fog takes its time. Well, there's wives and kids off to the side and they're waving as they go. There must be 350 of them coming down the road. So I hollered out to one of them, hey, what you marching for? He says, we're marching out of this town and on to Latimer. Said we're marching on for liberty in this land of the brave and free. I'm sick of living my life like a piece of machinery. Aw, son, I'm sick of living like a second-class human being. We ain't asking for charity, just a little equality. Well, the fog finally rolled away and the sun rose to its peak. Someone said 10 miles have passed beneath our feet. And we come from many countries, yeah, many foreign lands, but we're waving old stars and stripes to show we're Americans. And then just around Hazelton, up stepped Sheriff Martin. He said, you've come far enough, boys, go back to where you come from. But there wasn't no stopping in these men's eyes. You could see right to their soul, their hearts filled with freedom and their lungs filled with cold. Said we're marching on for liberty in this land of the brave and free. I'm sick of living my life like a piece of machinery. He said, son, I'm sick of living like a second-class human being. We ain't asking for charity, just a little equality. Well, the men marched on to Latimer, believing all was fine. Sheriff Martin had him 100 men waiting down the line. They were armed with the sheriff's rifles. He had deputized 100 men, while not a single marcher held a weapon in his hand. Then the sheriff opened fire, and the flag fell to the ground. It's as if God went deaf that day amidst that dying sound. I ain't never seen nothing like it, and I hope I never do again. It's a sin that $1 weighs more than a man. So for the 19 men that died that day, won't you reach into your soul? Tell me, who are the real Americans in this story that we hold? Is it the thugs with the rifles and the badges on their chests, or those who march for freedom and lay in eternal rest? Said we're marching on for liberty in this land of the brave and free. I'm sick of living my life like a piece of machinery. Ah, son, I'm sick of living like a second-class human being. We ain't asking for charity, just a little equality. We ain't asking for charity, just a little equality. Thank you so much. Oh my. That'd be a good one. I fished that creek. You see what songs about the coal region do? They fire up the natives. I love it. Great. Well, let me switch here. Well, you know that song's coming. They'd slash my tires if I don't sing that song before I leave. But that's coming. Just hold on. I'm sorry to say that song Latimer is so old, I have no more CDs of it. It's that old. It's sold out. You might be able to find it on iTunes or Spotify. Carol, you have all my CDs. You even have my 8 tracks. So that's how long you've been a supporter. You and Jim. One of the first places I ever played live original music at were the breweries in Pennsylvania. I don't know if you realize this, but in the 80s there wasn't a whole lot of original music here. And I mean, if you were a really successful band, that's one thing. But if you were just a folk singer from Danville, they wanted to hear covers. And I didn't really do that. But the Bullfrog Brewery and the Selinsgrove Brew Pub were these two oases that were like, well, we want you to play your music. And I was like, what? Nobody wants me to play my music. And these two folks down front, my friends Karl and Jim, were probably some of the first folks in the early 90s to ever support me and buy my albums and keep supporting me. And they're still here today. This is their first Hickory Fest ever. Here's a brand new song. I got a new album out called The Short Leaf Pine. If you're a tree geek, this is a cool tree. Try to find one. The song will tell you that they're not real common in Pennsylvania, but they're out there. 15 years hunting ginseng, and all these years not a one. Then on the trail up at Ricketts Glen, I almost stepped on one. A hellbender in these mountains, they're out there hiding in these streams. Believe me, these things are out there. It is my fault if they go unseen. Some things are scarce and hard to find. Sometimes right before your eyes, there's a short leaf pine. Oh, the Pennsylvania Bobcat, they've seen you with eyes and ears. And if you're lucky, you will see one. And just as quick, he'll disappear. Rattlesnakes in Montour County, 40 years to just see one. But some people fear what they don't understand, and they kill them with their gun. Some things are scarce and hard to find. Sometimes right before your eyes, there's a short leaf pine. From here to Alabama, the land of the short-leaf pine, like the period of a sentence, Pennsylvania's the end of the line. So I rambled over these mountains. I had to find one of my own. And when I finally found one, it was 100 feet from my home. Some things are scarce and hard to find. Sometimes right before your eyes, there's a short leaf pine. Thanks, Mike. A second verse said, the Pennsylvania Bobcat. I've only seen one Bobcat in my life. It was 100 yards up this road. So Hickory Fest is in that song. Hickory Fest is in so many of my songs. You all are in these songs. Oh, I might be able to squeeze that one in. All right, let me get you some guitar music then. This is a song about the loss of our ash trees. As you look around the mountains behind me and behind you, you'll see some dead trees. 9 out of 10 of those are ash. They're dying left and right from a beetle called the emerald ash borer. And I just wanted to pay tribute to their their legacy with a song. They deserve more than a song, that's for sure, but it's the best I could do. Well, it's ash to ash and it's dust to dust. Ah, wood to splinter and iron to rust. Ash to ash and dust to dust. Ash to ash and dust to dust. My dad taught me of many trees, the oak, the pine, and the hickory. He taught me the ash, I paid little mind, just a common tree with a simple line. Now it's ash to ash and it's dust to dust. Ah, wood to splinter and iron to rust. It's ash to ash and dust to dust. Ash to ash and dust to dust. Well, here I live in 2014. Not an ash alive left for spring. A beetle has come, the ash is no more. They all will fall from the emerald borer. I sit here now on a floor of ash. I got rocking chairs and a baseball bat. It's hard to believe they'll soon be gone. Just a few years ago they were so common. Now it's ash to ash and dust to dust. Ah, wood to splinter and iron to rust. It's ash to ash and it's dust to dust. Ash to ash and it's dust to dust. Well, I tell my boys, take a look at that stand by the skate park on St. Mary's Land. We've painted an X on every tree. They all will fall in a matter of weeks. I'm not high and mighty, I ain't got no horse. I'm not pointing fingers, just strumming chords. And I'm saying out loud, I can't believe I'm gonna outlive these trees. Now it's ash to ash and dust to dust. It's wood to splinter and iron to rust. It's ash to ash and dust to dust. 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 I should explain the skateboards. The short answer is all the other bands have cool stuff like beer koozies and frisbees, and I'm like, what does nobody else bring to Hickory Fest? I'm like, skateboards, and there it is. So anyway, a few years ago I got to thinking about, you heard it in the song, I said 2014, in Montour County, that's when our ash trees were wiped out. And if you have not noticed, it's happening right now in Tioga County. It's just horrible. And folks, I don't know the solution to it, but I know that getting people talking is part of the solution. You know, knowledge about forestry and health of our forest is a thing we all need to be talking about. We can't just take it for granted. Or next time it's going to be the oak or the maple or whatever it may be. So anyway, got back to this idea of making a skateboard out of ash. And I called a few manufacturers and they said, well, skateboards are only made out of maple. And I said, right, I want to make one out of ash. Well, they're only made out of maple. And if you know your baseball bats are both ash and maple. I prefer ash. When I played baseball, that's what I used. And so I thought, it's got to make a better skateboard. And I finally found a crazy enough manufacturer, and they're in Pennsylvania. And so we now made 100 of these ash skateboards. The last 2 boxes in existence of the first order are here. I truly don't know if there's going to be more ordered or not. I'm a school teacher, not a skateboard salesman, so I don't know that I'm looking to start a new company here. This was just a fun project. The whole point was to get people talking about the loss of the ash tree. This is the whole point of the whole thing. And so the artwork is trying to show a green, healthy ash tree leaf turning literally to ashes. So that's the story. If you're interested, it's not a big sales pitch. It's just that's what that's all about. Whether you want to hang it on a wall or give it to a skater in your family, that's up to you. But they are the only ash skateboards out there. Nobody else did it. And I thought, what a neat way to kind of capture the loss of the ash tree. They are all made from salvaged Pennsylvania ash trees. And if I could, number them and sign them all for you. So those of you getting skateboards, thank you. Don't leave. I'd like to sign them and number them. Speaking of skateboarding, here's a bluegrass song about skateboarding. You probably hear these songs all day long. Skateboarding bluegrass songs. I've always been curious what Bill Monroe would have thought of this song. You know Peter Rowan's story about, that ain't no part of nothing, boy. I wonder if Bill Monroe would say that about this song, or if he'd give me a pat on the back. I don't know. There you go. In life, you gotta learn to skate. You drop in and you fall on your face. Old school, new school, it's all the same. In life, you gotta learn to skate. I was raised in a world of dirt roads, shell and gravel dust, and I got me a Zorlak board and a pair of G&S trucks. Slick Swiss bearings, you should have seen them spin, like skating on lightning, smoother than the wind. In life, you gotta learn to skate. You drop in and you fall on your face. Old school, new school, it's all the same. In life, you gotta learn to skate. Well, Dad built us a good half pipe. Rob Randolph coached him how. It was plywood and masonite, polyurethane coat after coat. We had no metal coping, we had to use wood. It was killer on rail slides, but it sure looked good. In life, you gotta learn to skate. You drop in and you fall on your face. Old school, new school, it's all the same. In life, you gotta learn to skate. It was really something to see. A skate ramp in a forest of trees. A bunch of hillbillies in the 1980s. Well, skateboard's a lot like bluegrass. Everyone gets their turn. You step to the edge and you drop in, with wheels or with your strings. Get your trucks to the pipe like a dobro slide. Keep your trucks tight like a banjo hide. In life, you gotta learn to skate. You drop in and you fall on your face. Old school, new school, it's all the same. In life, you gotta learn to skate. That ain't no part of nothing. I got just enough time for a few more songs, and this is the one that you'd slash my tires if I didn't sing, Tioga County. Any guesses what it is? This is north of 80. Like literally, you are in north of 80, and this song goes with this place. I have good memories of writing this at my friend Bucky Green's house. I was sitting out in the field during one of his Memorial Day bashes. I bet several of you were there that weekend. And just taking in Tioga County and wrote this song. When Armstrong stepped on the moon, America stepped with him too. The giant leap left some of us behind, buried in the foothills of time. Well, not much has changed today. Some say prosperity stays away. 100 miles off of any map, but we all know exactly where we're at. North of 80, it ain't the same. Yeah, I don't know how else to put it to explain. There's a different tune in the air. There's a northern feel that makes it real everywhere. Well, Pennsylvania's hard to call. Not one shoe will fit us all. There's 7 worlds all in one, sharing nothing but the air and the sun. But the truth is that most don't see much more than our southern tier. Harrisburg to Philly and out in the west, but they forget about the place where I fit the best. North of 80, it ain't the same. I don't know how else to put it to explain. There's a different tune in the air. There's a northern feel that makes it real everywhere. Well, I'm very fortunate to have a memory that I'll take with me the rest of my life of singing this song at Hickory Fest with Danny Shipe and Sue Cunningham and all my Hickory Fest friends. And I will carry that memory for years and years and years. So the next time you're out on the road and feeling shaky in your soul, take off your watch, throw it away, come up north just for the day. For once your life learns to breathe, you'll find it so hard to leave. And don't be surprised if your tracks disappear and you're surrounded by a lifetime up here. North of 80, it ain't the same. Well, I don't know how else to put it to explain. There's a different tune in the air. There's a northern feel that makes it real everywhere. There's a northern feel that makes it real everywhere. All right, North of 80 family, that was great. My lovely friends Val and Albert gave me a beautiful hat, and I forgot to bring it on stage. Albert, can I borrow your hat for this next song? It's the same style, thanks. You'll understand why when you see it. This was a gift, not this one. He gave me one just like this yesterday. It's a 1950s style steel chainsaw hat. And so I saw my buddy Bill Bailey walking out there somewhere. And to all you other loggers out there, this one's for you. This is called Crosscut Saw. Well, the war, it was over, Mr. Lincoln had won. I drew my Navy wages and turned to my home, to Sullivan County, where my grandfather came. The soil was rocky and the sky always rained. I remember Grandpa's stories of when he was a kid, of bison in the lowlands and elk on the ridge. But now they're all gone and a new hunt has begun, to find the tie a dot and make the sawmills hum. All I need is my crosscut saw, my double bit axe and 80 trees to fall. The spring, it's coming, I can smell it all around, and my soul's being tempted by that high water sound. Up on the loyal sock, it is straight and it's tall. There is pine up there like you ain't never saw. Only brave loggers bear the winter cold, and the snow falls heavy on that Appalachian fold. Well, it's up in the morning at 5 a.m. Throw down some biscuits, some coffee and ham. A 12-hour shift with a teamster crew, skidding logs to the water through the ice and snow. Here we go. All I need is my crosscut saw, my double bit axe and 80 trees to fall. The spring, it's coming, I can smell it all around, and my soul's being tempted by that high water sound. Well, we lash our logs together with hickory and oak. No rope, no iron, just pins and bows. A sweep at the front and back and a shack for the crew. 20,000 board feet, ready to tie loose When the ice finally breaks and the water's good and high, we'll head down the Loyal Sock, our crew of 5. A day on the raft down to Montoursville. We hit the Susquehanna where the water's smooth and still. All I need is my crosscut saw, my double bit axe, and 80 trees to fall. The spring, it's coming, I can smell it all around, and my soul's being tempted by that high water sound. Once we get to Marietta, we sell off our logs. $100 split by 5 river hogs. And we head back north, walking all the way, with a hand on your knife and the other on your pay. Well, if it's a good season, we'll have 2 or 3 more runs. Then this year is over and summer has begun. I'll watch as the rust, it builds upon my tools, and I'll long for the day I'm back with my logging crew. Yeah! All I need is my crosscut saw, my double bit axe, and 80 trees to fall. The spring, it's coming, I can smell it all around, and my soul's being tempted by that high water sound. Thank you so much, folks. You made my whole year. It was all for dramatic effect, folks. I wasn't going anywhere. I was just tying my shoes. The Sharks made a mistake. They aren't sold out. There's 3 skateboards left. I want to watch this. This is going to be a free-for-all. Oh, there's so many. What do you want to hear? We got time for one more. Oh, I just heard a request for a polka. We got to do this one. My last song is going to be in honor of some soon-to-be newlyweds, Mike and Chelsea, getting married this October. And last year at Smoke Country Jam, Mike had it all planned. I sang this next song. Mike, it's called the Leatherman. Mike got down on one knee and had an engagement ring in the pliers of his Leatherman, and he proposed to Chelsea, to the best of my knowledge. First time anyone's ever proposed with a Leatherman. That's a whole new use. And she said, yes, ladies and gentlemen. So in honor of these folks, anyone else that wants to polka, this is called the Leatherman. Thanks for a great, great weekend. I can't wait to be with you all night and all day tomorrow. If you got a skateboard, come back so I can sign it and number it for you. The Leatherman is your best friend on your journey through life. With its trusty pliers and its razor-sharp knife. Oh, the handle won't fall apart like those generic brands. Oh, there's only one true American Leatherman. Here we go! All the ladies know that this tool's for real, made of the finest steel. Just see how it feels when you break a string while you are out performing. To pull out the peg, reach down to the top of your leg. Have you ever been stuck in a harmonica holder and you couldn't get it loose with a 2-ton boulder? You just take that trusty tool to that stubborn bolt and you'll bust out of your harmonica holder like a wild colt. All the ladies know that this tool's for real, made of the finest steel. Just see how it feels when you break a string while you are out performing. To pull out the peg, reach down to the top of your leg. Mike and Chelsea now. Polka solo. When you're on a date and the night, it is to its end, and you walk her to the front door and she invites you in. Don't hesitate, don't procrastinate, just go on in. And if your stomach gets the butterflies, pull out your Leatherman. Oh, the ladies know that this tool's for real, made of the finest steel. Just see how it feels when you break a string while you are out performing. To pull out the peg, reach down to the top of your leg. Yes, to pull out the peg, reach down to the top of your leg.